So well. Yes, give me something good. Please. Please. Before I get kicked into another, thing that I don't want. Please. Okay, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Can I? Come on. Come on. I've got this. I've got this. Party's saying nothing. That's scary. Squid Missile, don't like it. Lightning Strike, can go for it. Fusion, couldn't really see it. They need to fix that shop, but I don't care. I'm not playing Sky Wars. Okay, I have no idea what they're doing. Why is Stella party leader? What are we doing? It better not be illegal. Boy. This is the finish line. I know that. Oh. Missed some, missed some tipping. It's not gonna bite me back. That's not impressive stats. Okay, what are we doing? TowerWars. Oh boy. Oh no. Okay. I'm confused. Why did you quit? I probably should, do an intro, but... It's... This is the exact same map! What do you want? Okay, why is Hypixel making fun of me? I guess those two are just enjoying something. I need to do an intro. Hey, it's CJ. Welcome to Tower Wars, whatever this is. Skills. I don't have any idea what's going on. Why do I want to know what these skills do? What? What? Okay, place it. Come on. What? No. So I can place on grass, apparently. I already can call it. I'm not gonna like this game, so let's just do a rant while I try and do this stuff. I don't care. What to talk about? Recently, I've talked about D&D, but I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to hear D&D stories, so I don't know. I didn't come into this with a plan. I expected to leave. Stop being mean, zombie. Yeah, so apparently I had no idea what to talk about during this episode, and because I don't really like it, I'm just gonna be, sitting here on my couch, lying down, talking about D&D, even though I said I wouldn't. Okay, yes, I introduced, I believe. Gonna need to check that later. I started at a random point where TowerWars looked like it was going on. But, yay! So, of course, I talked about the chaos of the barn, but now I'm talking about a time when I had to DM. I know, exciting. So, me DMing, it's a bit chaotic. My friends prefer, tiers, stronger stuff and all that stuff. Yeah. So, I agreed to it. I ended up, infusing Jason's stuff into, my map. And here's the chaotic part. So starting with Jason's group. Now, Jason knows how to break the system if he's smart. And he's apparently shown his true colors in a previous campaign, which also did the same idea as me. To which I thought, I understand him enough. So, first thing I did, made sure the goats were on another continent and the only thing coming in was goat cheese. We don't want that thing again. Secondly, we needed to make the primary income like mainly plants, so like wheat earns money, carrots, potatoes, just so Jason doesn't get anything overpowered. Third, we had to make sure there was like scarcely any explosives except on pirate ships. Yeah, that's the problem. Although we had like I had to implement a very strong Viking fleet. That was not fun, just so Jason couldn't destroy a pirate ship with all of their gunpowder. Um, let's see. So I was like making careful preparations, and that's when I came across the problem. I had too diverse a people. Now on this continent, there's war. There's the elven people, well, elvish human people who aren't considered half elves. They don't control most of the land. To the north of them are the humans, and then the dark dwarves and dark elves, and then unexplored territory. And of course, the more north you go, the more mountainous it seems to get, and the mountains, they contain this darknium. Now, what darknium does is a small amount can steal magic. And it's been outlawed in arenas and all that stuff in Jason's thing. But this is the continent where, like, the main source is, and the thing I know about Jason is that he's magical. So, because I had such a vast amount in the mountains, I believed if he goes there, he's gonna die. To which I actually didn't think he'd employ one of the people to gather the stuff for him. Now, the problem with this is, they gather it, they put it in, like, this magical chest, and Jason figured out a spell to stabilize it long enough. But I thought he really couldn't do harm, because if he was gonna, like, do something with it, it would be pointless. Until I realized he might actually have something dangerous. So Darknium just sucks magic, like, out of people and things. So basically it's a magic killer. And this was before, like, the first Great War, or the second, or the third Great War of just this continent. I would call it a civil war, but they were never civil. Now, let's try and explain this continent better. So there's the Kravish people, and then above is the Gideon's kingdom. And both of them control a lot of land, and this is specifically in this point in time. And there's, like, these mixed, it's mainly humans, somewhat dwarves people. I should be paying attention to the game, but no, I'm really invested in this now. So the dwarven people, they feel like they've been cheated out of some valuable resources. I don't remember what. Because I had nothing to do with it, I promise. I, the DM, had nothing to do with them being absolute jerks in the end. I think that was Jason. Sorry, buddy, I'm throwing you under the bus. And Mr. Horkles, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the other Jason. That you may or may not know. Oh, wasted a fireball there. So, the problem, overall, is that he's gotten a hold of Darknium, and the continent beyond the Kravish, like, past the dragon people who are on the same continent, across the Sea of Vikings, those people had a decent amount of lithium. They had their trains run on it, like, they've had their steam power and all that stuff. Like, these guys were in the industrial age, while the other people were just selfishly trying to kill each other. Sorry, I needed to breathe there, that sounded weird. Please, work! Ah! this is such a rage game. Like, I wish they actually explained the rules before it started. Like, Pigmen, I don't know what that does. I don't know how my income is so high, but I'm pretty sure it's because I send stuff. Okay. So back to the thing. Jason went over to the industrial continent, having to battle some Vikings, to which I'm surprised how well he did, considering the fact that I rigged the dice rolls. I rigged I've rigged most of the dice rolls. I tried to do bad weather to convince him to turn back. But most importantly, and this is the thing that really gets me on edge, even though I tried to make it nearly impossible, he just comes up to me and is like, yo, I made it. Like, he rolls 2 nat 20s and I witnessed them for navigation. Most of the people who were fighting with Jason, who were commanding the ship, died. He actually ditched it. And this is the funny thing. He ditched it, literally turned into a tiny rowboat, and left the giant boat. And I didn't know this because he didn't tell me. He did not tell me. And you see, I normally do the campaign on my own. Well, I normally manage the campaign on my own. But because it was what Jason was doing, I had to literally allow 2 other DMs just so I wouldn't kill everyone. I know what some of you are thinking. Ridiculous. Why can't I kill? Basically, we do a multi-DM thing just so, one DM isn't just hating on a certain person. And the main problem I find with this, and not that there's anything wrong with it, is that it tends to, make DMs hate players even more, because players will be like, oh, he's the favorable one, so I'm going for him. And thus, we begin the circle of pain. So, of course, if you're thought to be the hated DM, and there's another DM who's guiding your rowboat, it's a decently safe passage for them. And it's towards a goal they shouldn't have. Now, of course, I couldn't do anything because I didn't know he took the rowboat. I was still beating hard at the ship. And finally, I believe right before he hit the bay, I realized, wait, he's not here. Where is he? And we mainly do our D&D sessions online. So finally, I found him. And I was like, bro. Then I took over for that DM. He allowed me to, thankfully. So, he made it to the land, and quickly the industrial people just gave him a glance and didn't care. I tried to fetch the die roll by adding +2, but it was a nat 1, and no one saw him as a threat, so Jason, if you're hearing of this, I'm sorry. I tried to rig you, but you rigged me first, so imagine how embarrassing that is. So of course he gets on this land, and I'm like, he has an abundance of lithium. Oh, this is gonna be so terrible. To which it surprisingly wasn't. Jason, he just quickly grabbed some lithium, not even enough for me to consider it a threat. But still, he did it. And finally, he was happy. He started going back. I thought, okay, he's got Darknium and Lithium. Lithium, grants magic. Darknium steals magic. So when those two come together, it's basically a black hole. Because, anything with magic just gets pulled towards it. And the Lithium's giving everything around it magic. So I thought, okay, we're fine. What's he gonna do? Make a tiny black hole to damage most of a town. And, I was okay with that. So I just left him alone, and apparently I forgot one critical thing. Jason, my good old buddy, that I dearly am fond of. He looks straight at this one innkeeper, and he's like, "Hey, do you have a blast-proof room?" And I was kind of suspicious of this, but I didn't care. And looking through the rules, I was like, there's nothing he can do without me noticing. Well, Jason buys some wine. And I know what some of you are thinking. Huh? How does wine relate to the story? Well, wine's a special thing. We consider it a crafting material. Because of course, if you want to like build anything, you need wine. I'm kidding. Don't demonetize me, YouTube. So he grabs this wine and then he goes down to the blast-proof room, which apparently is in the tavern. I don't know why it was there. He grabs like this entire bit of lithium and 2/3 darknium compared to the lithium. So like there was like a pound of lithium, like 0.67 darknium. He pours wine on both of them and starts polishing them. Well, here's the thing. A rule that has been decreed between all the DMs is that if there's two similar resources, if one person washes it with alcohol, and there's a greater amount of, like, say, steel to aluminum, and, like, there's a lack of aluminum, we will grant them the aluminum. You see where the problem is. So all the darknium just becomes lithium, and he keeps doing this, he keeps doing this, he keeps getting supplies, and he was running low on funds with the Dark Dwarves, so I quickly cut off that line of demand, and the follow-up was absolutely terrible. Jason grabs this barrel, like, seals it shut, so that way the lithium and darknium won't react to each other, puts gunpowder lightly at the bottom, on which it took him like 3 hours to grind to get enough. Like, gets some string, strands it out, and here's the ridiculous thing. I thought, okay, he's getting a little bit overpowered, and this is like his first ever gun / cannon that he's actually built. So I wasn't really afraid. Lo and behold, it's Jason. Some of my friends are gonna laugh at that because lo and behold, it's Jason and they understand my pain. So he fires it into a crowded city. The south side of a crowded city by some castle walls of an enemy person that he doesn't like. Zoop! All everything just like dies. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, no. So like the wall's gone, the house is gone, this everything gone. And so I couldn't do anything. Like, he just strolls straight into the castle. Everyone's afraid, even though he has nothing. The guards go after him, and I was like, ah, yes. This dude gained an immunity to darknium, which is, like, very rare and, like, costs a ton of money. But, like, he did it. And I was just sitting there and then in the background, no! So yeah, he kills a ton of guards by just this one darknium crystal, like at the edge of his sword, and I was so mad. Later on, he's like, oh, hey, Joseph. I would like to start my own kingdom. And I was like, okay, what do you want to call it? He said, I want to call it Shamo. And I was like, okay. There's going to be a lot of wars and contentions among your people. Where do you want to start off? He chooses this one land. Well, the Shamo did exist. He, like, wanted to be the Shamo. So here he is, the new Shamo king. And the first thing he does, that I find absolutely ridiculous, is break away from the kingdom. Like, a king breaking away from the kingdom to make a new kingdom? Huh? So basically he cut the Shamo place in, like, the Shamo lands in half. he controlled the northern side, so that way he didn't get as much backlash from the fight. And I was just sitting there dumbfounded. And then he goes farther north, and I was like, oh boy, this is gonna go very bad into Gideon's territory. Gideon had some sheep, and Jason started breeding the sheep to make lithium sheep, and to which some of you are thinking, what does that do? It's basically hot air balloon wool. Like, wool that floats away. And guess what? It was fun for a bit. Until finally the end, of which that is extremely flammable and easy to hit. So Jason just gets a whole hot air balloon, like gets these official cannons. At the end of it, he puts these ruby circlets to just fire off the darknium and lithium to like activate them so they'd actually start doing damage. And yeah, disappointment there on out. But I'm pretty sure like I can save the entire war effort, the conversation, for another video. But this has been Tower Wars. The winner's gonna be yellow. Sorry to burst your bubble, but they're the only one who plays it. And of course, please like and subscribe. I'm just doing measly parkour. If you want to see more of this, leave a like. 10 likes. I'll probably do another episode of this because, like, it's gonna take an hour just for me to get a good game that I actually want to record on. So, sorry about that, Heart. This is just not a game I like. Please do share this content with your friends and family because the more subscribers and viewers I get, the more content I can post and the more I can actually care about editing. But yeah, this has been a video. Goodbye! No, that dude just got sent to the beginning. Unfa Tybar.